So today we're going to be showing you how to install two products on this 308 GTI, the first being the AIRTEC intercooler and the second product being the big boost pipe kit. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the original intercooler, and we're going to take off the front bumper. So you need to remove these two Torx bolts on the top of the bumper. There's one here and there's one on the other side. Now the next bit, you want to get good access to the wheel arch and first pop up this plastic clip just next to the wheel. Now there's two more Torx bolts here on the wheel arch, and once you've got these off, you'll be able to peel back the front of the wheel arch, gaining access to behind the wing. Now this is going to be the trickiest part of the whole install because Peugeot have decided to put a bolt behind the wing facing downwards instead of facing up, so access is unbelievably tricky, but it's a 10mm and with some wiggling you'll be able to get there. Now if you're just doing the intercooler, you can just remove the bolts on the front of the under tray connecting the front of the bumper, but we are doing the big boost pipe kit, so I've decided to just take off the whole under tray with the bumper in one. Now just be aware that there will be some wiring attached to that passenger side, so make sure you disconnect that before yanking the bumper too hard. Now once you've got the bumper off, the intercooler is right there and there's not much holding it on. It's just a case of disconnecting the Jubilee clip from one side, disconnecting the Jubilee clip from the other side, and there's just two 13mm bolts holding the intercooler on. Once these are loose, you can easily pull the intercooler away from the car. Now if you're just fitting an intercooler, now would be a place that you start reinstalling the new AIRTEC one. But we're actually fitting a big boost pipe kit, so we're going to come back to that point later and we're going to start removing the original boost pipes. And to do that, the first thing we're going to remove is the wiper blades, because we need to get some good access behind the scuttle panel. And to do this, there's a cap that you can push off with a flathead screwdriver, and then that will show a 16mm nut holding on the wiper blades. Now the panel is held on with clips at the bottom, so you want to lift this up from the bottom and then pull it out and down. There is the washer jet connected to this, but you can just pull off that rubber hose. Now there is another section of scuttle that we have to remove so we can access that rear boost pipe, and the brake reservoir is actually connected to this. So make sure to remove those two bolts and just let the reservoir dangle next to it so we can remove that rear scuttle. And that rear scuttle is held on by 5 10mm bolts, so once you've got those on, it should pull up and away. So we're going to remove the top boost pipe first, and we have to remove the map sensor located here. Then there's a Jubilee clip here that you have to loosen, and then the second Jubilee clip is here. Now there are two 10mm bolts holding this onto the engine. The first one is here and is very easy. The second one is down here, but it's a little bit trickier. Now what I find with these vehicles are the boost pipes are really tough to get off, and this goes across every single boost pipe I came across, so be careful of this. Then now you need to remove the hard pipe which goes straight onto the throttle body. Now this might be a 20-second job or it might be a 20-minute job like it was for me. On this car, the Jubilee clip was facing the back of the firewall and I had to remove a load of stuff around the engine to access to it, but hopefully this shouldn't be the case with you. Now we're going to turn our attention to the other side of the car where you can see this air duct. Now if we just lift this up and out the way, we can get access through there to everything that we need. Now once you've lifted this out the way, you'll see this weird exhaust looking thing there. That is actually the dump valve. First of all, you want to remove the clip off that. Now if we look to the left, we can actually get access to the Jubilee clip, and that is the top of the boost hose. So again, firstly, remove the connector which goes onto the dump valve, and you should be able to do this by hand, or if you need help, you can use a screwdriver. And then secondly, you can loosen off that Jubilee clip which goes onto the turbo. And now because you just disconnected the side which goes onto the turbo, and earlier you disconnected the side which goes onto the intercooler, you should be able to wiggle that whole pipe out with the dump valve attached to it. And now would be a good time to get everything out of your big boost pipe kit and lay it on a table in front of you. Now we need to transfer over the original dump valve from the original boost pipe to the new alley joiner, and you're going to do this by using the same bolts. Now the smallest pipe in the kit wants to go on the turbo end of this dump valve, so I like to put it on outside the car, but make sure that you can spin it because you probably want to rotate them when you're putting it on. Now there's two U-bend pipes in the kit. Now the shorter one of those two U-bends wants to go on the intercooler side of the dump valve. But then you can install the whole pipe as one. Now it might be a little bit tricky trying to remove some things around the wiring, but just make sure that you get it in somewhat the right position, and once the intercooler is on later, we can tighten everything up properly. Now the next thing is to take this pipe out of the kit, and you want to bolt this down onto the throttle body. Again, make sure the Jubilee clip is ready to go on, but don't fully tighten it because you will have to rotate this pipe a little bit to get the center hard pipe on. Now the only silicone hose left to go on is the one that bolts to the other side of the intercooler, so now was a good time to unbox the intercooler and get this bolted up on the car. Now the kit comes with these two brackets, and you are going to have to bolt these directly onto the intercooler with the bolt supplied in the kit. Now you do want to remove the 2 bushes and the aluminium spacer from the original intercooler because we will be reusing these. And then you want to transfer these onto their respective places. The bushes are different on either side and they will mount up with the brackets, so it's impossible really to get this wrong. And with these brackets attached, the intercooler will just slide up to the original mounting and you can reuse the original bolts as well. So once I'm happy with the position of the dump valve on this side of the boost pipe, I'm going to put all the Jubilee clips on and I'm going to install it on the hot side of the intercooler and I'm going to tighten everything down. And then with the final silicone holes left, you can route this through from the cold side of the intercooler up until the top of the engine. And then we've got one more pipe just to link everything back together again. Now the kit does come with these 2 brackets, and this is so we can bolt down the new hard pipe to the exact same location as the original OEM hard pipe bolted to the engine too. And as you can see watching on the screen, this is the orientation that you need to bolt them down to, and also the locations as well. And now it's a case of taking that final hard pipe and joining those 2 silicone hoses together. And using the bolts in the kit, you can install the hard pipe to the brackets which we installed in the previous step. And do not forget to change over the map sensor. It will be on the original boost pipe and it will just pop straight out. It'll pop into the new one, make sure you bolt it down and make sure to connect the wiring again. And after starting the car to make sure you've not got any boost leaks, you are all complete. Now the only thing left to do is just repeat the steps that you did earlier to install the bumper and the scuttle panel and the brake reservoir, and you're all good to go.